Mm, Thank you, everybody, and good morning. I am the Director General of the WE Forum, which is an international association speaking for producer responsibility organizations. All of them are not-for-profit and controlled by producers of electrical and electronic equipment. And we have representatives actually in Africa as our member organization. And then we also have members in Latin America, North America, Asia, and Oceania, and Europe, of course. So the European Union has indicated that has issued a call for evidence recently, and a call for evidence is a tool that allows the European Commission to assess the current legislation in the European Union. And so I thought that I might walk you through the position that we have sent to the European Commission, our response to this call for evidence, as it might be of interest to all of you, and what I think are the issues of greatest interest, of greatest importance in moving forward. So basically, what happens is that the Commission has issued a call for evidence. People are now responding to that call for evidence, and then there will be an evaluation of legislation. As you know, the European Union is the first supranational organization that introduced extended producer responsibility to the electronic waste sector. And so we are now 20 years later. In the meantime, there has been a second directive. We call it the recast directive. So we are now 20 years later. And by the way, the WE Forum as well was set up 20 years ago. So if you could move to the next slide, please. And that's my only slide. So actually, I was meant to click on each box, but it doesn't matter. So our commitment, this is the issues of greatest interest, our response to the call for evidence. So our commitment is or the PROs, the producer responsibility organizations, and they are committed to collect all the e-waste they have access to, because there's a lot of e-waste that they have no access to. So because there are other people in the market taking back electronic waste. And so that's our commitment. Extended producer responsibility is a great, let's say, a policy approach. The OECD calls it a policy approach, but we think it's no longer fit for purpose, especially not the collection target, for example, and it needs to be redesigned, because it was in the early days, in the early 2000s, it was a policy approach to make sure that the costs arising from waste management were shifted to producers. And now we are in a situation where we want to promote circular economy, value chain actions, and so forth. And this brings me to my third block, circular economy. It's very important to embed our initiatives in a circular economy narrative, meaning that it's no longer all about recycling. It's also about, I would say it's actually not in the first place about recycling. It's in the first place about giving your products to people in the family, to repairing them, and so forth. And we need to have initiatives that promote this. Critical raw materials, I do not know the situation in Kenya, but in Europe, we are a little bit on high alert, because of the transition we want to make towards a carbon neutral economy. The European Union wants to be the world's #1 carbon neutral economy, is at stake, because we don't have secured access to the critical raw materials that allow for this transition. Collection target, as I said earlier, is no longer fit for purpose. And in the European Union, you need to collect 65% of what was placed on the market in the 3 preceding years. And when you come to think of it, it doesn't work, because if you promote products to be repaired and to be donated to charities and so on, you will never reach that target. And we've seen also in statistics that very few member states actually reach that target. So it needs to be rethought and redesigned, also with the circular economy in mind. It takes a village means that no single actor can solve this problem. It's as with many other problems in the world, it takes a village. Everyone has to play a role in that respect. So it's not only producers, of course, it's also the enforcement authorities that need to control the market. It's also recyclers, it's of course repair organizations, retailers, and so forth. And all these actors, everyone who has access to e-waste has to be sitting around the table. And I know, Simone, that the We Center has taken initiatives to do exactly that, to bring the people together and to make sure that there is a conversation going on, and also build trust. That's important. It's not something you can legislate, but it's important to create confidence building measures.